Hi, welcome to my presentation of the gospel. Okay, number one, creation. So basically God's been there since the beginning. He created the world in 7 days, technically 6. But that was just on his timeline. In ours, it could be thousands of years, hence the Big Bang Theory. All right, he placed the Garden of Eden on earth. It was literally heaven on earth. He created the first 2 humans, Adam and Eve. He placed them in the garden. Everything was right. It was absolutely perfect. All right, but he said, hey, I want to give you free will. So he placed a tree in the middle of the garden. He said, hey, do not eat from the freaking tree. All right, that is my one rule. Do not eat from the tree. Okay, number 2, this guy. Let me tell you about this guy. He was an angel. He did not like what God was doing. He thought he was equal to and or better than God. God says, absolutely not. Do you know who I am? He ends up getting kicked out of heaven, but he comes back down to earth because he thinks he has a chance, and he turns into a serpent. Reason number 502 why this is the worst animal. Okay, he goes to the woman because he wants to thrive on her biggest flaw, overthinking, and he says, hey, did God really say that? Did God really say that you can't eat from the tree? You should, like, what are you missing out on? That's right, he created FOMO. Okay, long story short, they end up eating from the tree. The one freaking rule. So God says, you know what, we can't be in a relationship anymore because you messed up, and I can't be with someone who messes up because I'm perfect. All right, but he can do that because it's God. Next, the Old Testament. All right, you have generation after generation trying to be perfect, trying to not mess up, and trying to go back into relationship with God. God does go to a guy named Abraham and says, hey, I'm going to send someone that is going to be perfect and that is going to bridge the gap between me and humanity, because right now it's not working. You got wars, murder, all this stuff, and I can't deal with that. All right. Jesus is the guy, okay? Jesus is the guy that God sends, and it's actually his son / himself. God knew that humans couldn't do it. God knew that they would mess up eventually, so he sent his son / himself. Do not ask me how the Trinity works. I do not know. I can't understand it. Like, I understand it, but I don't understand it. So he sends his son. He is born as a baby, and he lives a fully perfect, sinless life for 33 years. He's 100% man, 100% God. I don't know how it works, but he does it anyway. And he lives that life, and then he dies. Now what happens, because we killed him, right? We killed him. And so he ends up dying. But you know what? He knew that was going to happen, and he knew that he had to do it. So he died. And what happened when he died? He loves us enough that he took our sin, because dying, our body can die, but our soul, if you're in a relationship with God, our soul can't die, right? So his soul didn't die, but it's because he took our sin, he did die. But then he was raised back to life. And when he was raised back to life, what happened was a bridge was formed. He took our sin and he got rid of it. So because God still loves free will, if we choose to enter into a relationship with him, then he can take our sin. It's not like we don't have it anymore. It's not there. Not that we're perfect, but that we need him to take it. So that way we can be in a relationship with him, and that way we can go back to the garden and what happened in the garden. And thank you for watching. That's all I got.